And good morning and welcome to the VSA Capital 5-Minute Morning Miner. It's Thursday, the 23rd of September. I must confess I've just jumped off Radio 5 and Radio 4 talking about the new flexible working regime. But we have a fairly strong view at VSA. We want people to work as hard as possible and in the office as much as possible. No, I'm not a complete dictator, nor am I a dinosaur before you say anything, Ollie. Morning, Ollie. We've got you today rather than Paul, haven't we?
Yes, it's Paul's wife's birthday, so he is cooking her breakfast.
A birthday breakfast, I love it.
Yep.
You know I'm not a dinosaur, don't you, Ollie? Don't answer that.
No one in the city with more than 30 years experience could be described as a dinosaur.
Anyway, let's crack on. There's a few companies we need to talk about, and there's some really good companies as well and interesting. So let's crack on. I think American Lithium was the first one you wanted to have a chat about, Ollie.
Yes, it's not a huge they've had a lot of technical news throughout, but this week they met with the president of Peru, President Castillo. He was in New York for the UN summit and took some time out to go and meet Simon Clarke and some of the other senior management team. Obviously, there's been a lot of news around possible changes to the mining industry and the mining licensing regime, possible nationalisation of the whole sector as part of his campaign election rhetoric. And a lot of people who were sort of familiar with South American politics at the time said that this is just saber rattling. Everyone says this sort of thing to get into power. And the other side of that is a lot of people felt that Castillo was different, and he probably will make some changes. But his comments to the management team, there was that nationalisation was off the cards, expropriation's off the cards, and he wants to put in a pragmatic regime because mining is an important part of Peru's economy. And, you know, American Lithium is probably a good place to start, given that their focus is on energy metals and on extracting them in a sustainable way with a strong focus on their local communities.
I mean, you know, look, lithium in South America in general is just a huge, part of the lithium market, isn't it? I mean, you've got obviously Argentina and Chile and other places, Bolivia, Peru, it's all very important to them. And I think, it's a pretty well established industry as well, isn't it? So, I mean, I think that shouldn't be, I think if you're looking in the lithium space, you're always going to be looking potentially at some of those sort of risks. American Lithium, it's a great management team. It's actually a great stock. And I mean, there's still plenty of upside, isn't there?
There is, yeah. We've got a target price, which is a few times over where the stock is today. And whenever you get transformational growth in a market like lithium's seeing, governments are always going to look at new ways to tax it wherever you're based.
I think even the British government tries to do that occasionally, Ollie. So anyway, look, great they were able to meet up with the president, so that's good news. Now let's turning closer to home, down into deepest, darkest Cornwall. Cornish Metals have had some interim results, and it's not so much the results themselves, it's what they've got to say that's important.
Yes, so they obviously did a big fundraise when they dual listed on AIM in February. They raised, I think, £8 million. So at the end of the period, they were sitting on 10 million Canadian, which is about just under £6 million today. A lot of that is being spent on drilling. So they're drilling 9.1 kilometres around the United Downs project, where obviously last year they hit some pretty special results. They've done 4 of that so far, so that accounts for the cash burn since the placing, and they've probably got another 5 or so to go before they complete that, which is all fully funded. It has pulled back quite a long way from the June high, about 35%. That's quite a lot more than the underlying commodities that it's exposed to in terms of tin, and copper. So, if they've got a lot of assays coming out, then could be an interesting time to have a look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I was with one of our other clients, a very big, big mining junior, should we call it? I mean, it's not a FTSE 100 type of miner, but it's in production. And I mean, it's very interesting because they have quite strong views about Cornwall and basically pretty much agree with me. And that is that actually our IPO of Tungsten West is key to the entire southwest of England mining industry. Because by getting the Tungsten West IPO away and it being successful, and we think it will be very successful, it will basically free up a lot of potential capital for the whole area, but also Tungsten West will become the beacon and potentially the hub, the processing hub, etc. So, I think for all of these Cornish mining companies, they're all quite small. The Tungsten West flotation is absolutely key to them, and they're all watching, and actually they all want it to be successful as well, which is great. You don't often do a float like that where all your competitors, so to speak, well, they're not really competitors, but all your the mines around you want you to be successful.
Yeah, no pressure.
Yeah. Okay. What else, Ollie?
Well, Gemfield's interim results out. I don't think there's any particular surprises in there. Obviously, through the year, we've seen a restart of operations and very strong auction results. So revenue of 100 million, or just under 100 million, is up fivefold on last year. Operating profitable 40 million. That was a loss of nearly 60 million last year. So a strong turnaround, and they're even talking about a dividend from next year. It's always next year, but given these operating profit figures, they're in a pretty strong position to do that if the gemstone market remains buoyant. And I think part of that, why prices are strong, is that they were out of the market for a year with the shutdowns, and that has impacted supply and help support prices.
Look, this time last year they were trading at 6p, they're now trading at 14.5p. So it's been actually a great performer over the last 12 months. And I think the gemstone market in general is looking much healthier, and it's quite an interesting place to go.
It is, yeah, as well as just sort of consumer demand, I think, as a store of value.
Yeah. Okay, anything else you want to mention, or shall we call it a day there?
No, I think that's everything for today.
Okay, well, hopefully Paul will have had a great birthday breakfast with his wife, and we'll be back with Paul tomorrow. Thanks, Paul, Ollie, for stepping in.
Cheers. Speak to you soon.